Football University, FFU. I am Mr. Bukusis. I'm here with Mr. Time Lang, coming to you live from YouTube. Mr. Lang, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. We are live for the first time, and we will be back live on, what is it, Tuesday night for our real draft, so you guys could watch.
That's right, and we'll give you guys a bit more information on that. But today we got like a little special show here. We're kind of, flipping out the script a little bit. We got a bunch of different things we wanted to talk about. Wanted to cover some of the latest news that happened after we did our final draft and final rankings and such. And Mr. Lang, I believe you're going to be taking a little bit of hosting duties today. Why don't you jump us off here?
Yeah. We're just gonna jump in and just basically discuss every. There's a lot of drafts that are happening this weekend. There will be a lot of drafts happening until basically the third, if not maybe the fourth, right before the game starts. And we just kind of wanted to go over some do's and don'ts, and kind of like don't chase last year's production, depending on the situation. Obviously, if it's consistent, so on and so forth. But we have some examples that we want to go over. And again, if you guys, that do join us, do have the opportunity to make comments and have any questions, like where it comes down to who to draft the specific spots. We would like you guys, if you were to ask those questions, just make sure that you give us the point system involved, so we can actually make the right decisions for you guys. If you're like, hey, would you take Chase Brown in the second, right? Yeah, we would take Chase Brown in the second, potentially, if it's a full point PPR. But if it's a standard league where there's no point per reception, we might not. So again, drop those comments when drop those comments when you guys come on, and we'll roll through it. But yeah. So Billy, you have any specific do's and don'ts that you would like to inform our community on what not to do in drafts?
Yeah, and I know we've got a couple different fun little topics to mention today, but I just wanted to we had that one major video kind of go viral that we were talking about the running backs early and the wide receivers late, and I just wanted to bolster a few points about that. Really talk about what exactly the point of which we were emphasizing. Here's some things that we didn't say in that video. We didn't say never draft a wide receiver. We
Yep.
didn't say, hey, by all means, never draft a wide receiver early. Those are things that we never said. What we did say was we were trying to paint the picture to show everybody, hey, listen, as you get into the dog rounds of the draft and you get later on in the draft, you have more options to draft wide receivers that will be better contributors to your team later on in the draft. You're just not going to find that at running back. You're just not. And again, you guys could throw out an example here. You could throw out an example here. We're talking overall on the math, the general average. We're just giving you the statistics of it. Yeah, there's some late round running back shots that me and Tommy both have, and we've been recommending to people. Absolutely, go for it. It doesn't mean that the conceptual thing of what we're saying is wrong. So we kind of brought that up, and we brought it up in different PPR formats or different zero, half PPR, full PPR. And so I just wanted to emphasize the point. Logically speaking, if you have more chances to draft wide receiver later, that will be better contributors for your team, because wide receivers later on have more points than running backs do later on in the draft, then by definition, you should be keeping that in your mind to be like, all right, I guess I need to grab a good running back early, therefore to compensate the rest of your draft. So I just wanted to hammer that point home.
No, and we appreciate that. Obviously, we went through the statistics, we went through the math, we explained all that stuff. Obviously, we've had a lot of comments on that, but this part is a perfect example. Let's just say in a full point PPR, these two players, right? You got JSN and you got Chase Brown, pretty much in the same category. Maybe one or two picks away from each other. Who would you pick there?
I mean, well, again, notwithstanding the fact that we're lower on JSN, but yes, it would be Chase Brown among those chances. Yeah.
And what are the reasons behind that? Like, we're not chasing last year's numbers. We're looking at basically what's most likely going to happen this year with Chase Brown in that offense, right? They're going to have to put up points. For example, with JSN, he's got a brand new quarterback. I would not chase after Sam Darnold's production from last year. It's a new system. Obviously you have a hurt running back room with which call it back there. Who's our favorite guy back there? Not
Yeah,
Charbonnet. Yeah, we
yeah.
yeah,
Ken Walker.
we don't talk
Yeah.
about Kenneth Walker's name anymore. But
No.
but the thing is, like, you just don't know what's going to happen in that offense, and you know, taking Cooper Cup coming to the team, I think that obviously there's some value there, but I think in all reality, I don't see JSN, really being a number one overall wide receiver that can really just produce for your roster. There's no reason to take him where he's being drafted. Like right now, you got
And just to bolster your point, that's our opinion. We're different than consensus
sure,
on this.
no,
But
no,
but to your point though, even if you differ with what we think, and you think that okay, no, JSN, he's likely going to be as good as he was. Even if you believe that, the price at which he is going to cost you a very good running back
and
like Chase Brown, like Kyron, like that kind of
And,
thing.
and that's the thing. That's the thing, right? So, like, obviously, you're taking him at the end of the second, maybe early third round. Depending on that turn where it's at. But a lot of people are pretty much take him in the second round, which is not a value for where he is. I personally believe that he would be a value if he's being taken right now in, let's just say, Terry McLaurin's round, fifth round.
Sure.
You know, fifth round, end of fourth, fifth round. But you're not getting that. Terry McLaurin, finishing last year as basically wide receiver. What was he? Wide receiver 5 last year. You
Well,
gonna remember?
he
Yeah,
was very high, right?
yeah. He was. Yeah, yeah. Basically, you're getting him in the fifth round. He has a great connection with Daniels. But the downside of it right now is that he hasn't played this entire preseason. He's
Right,
not in football shape. He's not ready. I mean, that can prove he can prove us wrong all day long.
right.
But also having Debo Samuel come into the offense, I mean that's going to put a little bit of a damper on his production as well too. It could open up the field a little bit more, but I think that you got to look at the perspective of now you have more talent in an offense, especially with Brian Robinson going to San Francisco. That could put Debo in the backfield a little bit more and then open the field a little bit better, right? So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just think that talking about JSN, you can't buy the hype from last year's production because now he has a new quarterback. He's pretty much in the same system, but he doesn't have the same, wide receiver group around him. It's a pretty much a brand new wide receiver group around him. You got MVS, you got Cooper Cup. There's nobody else. DK's not there. Lockett's not there. I would not buy the hype on they have
Not to the cost of what he is. No,
no, no, no, for
right.
sure.
Yeah, no,
Um,
it's a point. And again, if even if you even if you disagree with what we're saying because we're going against the grain with consensus, you can't deny that the cost of which he is going, man, he's being drafted basically at his like ceiling esque kind of
yeah.
thing. So yeah, yeah, couldn't agree more.
The Yeah, the other two I kind of wanted to go over. I'm talking about buying, pretty much buying the hype on these guys. And some of these players are actually undervalued when it comes down to their draft positions. I really feel that Chase Brown in a full point PPR, even in a half point PPR, his
Sure,
value is so underappreciated right now. He should be going in the second round based on what he's been able to produce.
sure.
Obviously last year he finished as RB 12. But and I feel like he can finish higher than his ADP. You know, he should finish within the top 10 in a PPR, half point PPR, scoring system. There's
Yeah,
no
wow.
reason for him not to. And the same thing goes with, well, not really the same situation, but everybody was freaking out when Isaiah Pacheco basically dropped off the face of the earth when he broke his leg last year. He did come back. He did not look good. But again, he came back off of a broken leg. The guy was broken the entire, pretty much the entire season, and basically made his way into the playoffs. Um, I really feel that he's underappreciated this year, and he's a great value if you're going to really, try to bolster your wide receiver room after taking a really solid running back in round 1 or round 2. He is a great, great, great value to pretty much take. And you got to remember, last year everybody was pretty much taking him the middle of the second round, or if not early in the second round. Then he broke his leg, right?
Yeah.
I will say this too. This is actually, I found this pretty funny, but I look back at a lot of drafts. People that were drafting Christian McCaffrey pretty much had Isaiah Pacheco, so they destroyed their draft. So,
Yep.
you know, their team was destroyed at the draft. So, I mean, that's definitely something to look at. I mean, again, a lot of people make comments about, running backs get injured. Everybody gets injured, guys. Every player gets, every positional player pretty much gets injured. We
Yeah.
don't play and we don't play fantasy football to avoid injuries. It's just going to happen. You have to maximize your opportunity in the draft and through the season to
Right.
bolster your roster, right?
Yeah, and not to man, you're so right, and not to just bring everything back to the crazy video that we had. So a lot of much of the commentary on that was talking about, well, even if this is correct. By the way, I love that. Like, even if, like, we're presenting numbers, but even if this is correct, running backs are more likely to get injured than wide receivers, and that might be true. Even though,
Yeah.
like, right, and we're not looking at it in a in a tunnel vision. Like, this past year, it wasn't true. A lot of the running backs returned great value, but in general, yes, running backs will tend to get more injured than wide receivers. Okay, great. Do you want to win your league? How many shots? That's why we take multiple shots at running backs, at wide receivers. You have to play multiples of them. You're taking shots and you're trying to actually win. By the way, it's the same reason that when we talk about later on in the draft on guys that you wouldn't maybe normally be starting otherwise, you're really looking for upside. Because if you're just getting, you know, 3 targets a game, but it's consistent, 3 targets a game or 4 targets a game, okay, great. Consistently what? Staying on your bench? Unless you have
Yeah.
some type of an insurance situation or there's some otherwise reason, later round should be for upside. That's kind of what we are going for. So you can't play scared. What Tommy said absolutely is correct. Volatility, yeah, for the most part, you try to get your consistent performance, but volatility could mean a boom for your team, depending on where it is in the draft tiers, how you see things. So we evaluate all those things together when we look at these players.
Yeah.
You know, and by the way, the guy that you mentioned, so like Isaiah Pacheco, great example. Like at this point now, we're going where he's going currently in drafts. We'd see him as a value. We'd see him as a
Tremendous value.
yeah, like locked and loaded RB2. He's so not going there. So you
Yeah.
know,
And I mean, I really didn't pinpoint this one on my spreadsheet over here, but definitely somebody that I feel like it's hit or miss. Everybody's like afraid of the injury bug, and everybody's afraid of Christian McCaffrey, right? It just is what it is. I mean, especially you don't know what that means with basically Brian Robinson going to that offense, moving
sure,
forward. I do think honestly, it's a great thing for that offense because it's only going to keep Christian McCaffrey healthy, right? If you look at Gibbs and Montgomery,
right. I
they
mean, but
keep each other active and healthy, right? Especially if one of them goes down, then the next one's next man up. Like they have a massive value.
I'll be honest. I,
Um,
I don't know what to make from the San Francisco side. I kind of don't know what to make of the Brian Robinson thing from the San Francisco side. So comment on that because I have a lot to say about the Washington side of it. But like ultimately, do you maybe it makes Christian McCaffrey a slightly safer, but maybe slightly less upside? Kind of, maybe. I don't know. Like,
no, I think honestly, if I was to look at this as I'm trying to draft my roster right, obviously, if I'm at like the seventh, eighth, ninth pick, and four running backs came off the board, and I'm looking between either Derrick Henry or Al Shagenti or Christian McCaffrey. I'm probably I may take a Derrick Henry before those guys, but personally, if there's those guys are off the board and it's Genti or basically Christian McCaffrey, I'm probably going Christian McCaffrey. And my perspective behind this trade that happened is I think everybody's afraid of what happened last year, right? Um, the big thing is, forgetting about last year. And it's hard to do because a lot of people got, really, really hurt by basically, him not starting and really not playing the entire season. And then it was excitement when he came back. And then it was, then he basically got shut down back again because the San Francisco 49ers were not doing anything last year. Right. So I'm on the hype train with Christian McCaffrey. I still feel really good about this. And when the trade happened, I was a little nervous, but the more I think about it, I really feel that it's going to keep fresh legs for Christian McCaffrey, and it's going to make him be more durable when the moments are needed.
Here's a
So,
question. Here's two questions for you. First question:
sure.
name me the running backs you would take over Christian McCaffrey.
So I would have to take obviously Bijan. I'd have to take Saquon. I would have to take Gibbs, and I
And
know
is that the end
eh,
of the list?
possibly,
Okay.
possibly. I'd be like I said, I'd be toying between those three other players, but I feel like Christian McCaffrey has a little bit more of a value. Now, if there was, again, like I said, if four of those running backs were off the board and Derrick Henry was one of them, then I'd probably lean Christian McCaffrey over, Genty.
Okay.
It just for me it makes sense. I'd rather take because they're both risky positions. They're both very risky. I would rather take the reward on the easiest schedule in the NFL
Okay.
with the best running back in the NFL for the past couple of years, barring injuries.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean I'd rather that.
Second question: who is the handcuff for Christian McCaffrey?
It just depends on the situation.
Okay.
I think Brian Robinson now is a handcuff. He's
Not
he's the better.
Garenda.
No, I mean, I think what they're gonna do honestly is they're gonna have a third down back situation where Garindo might be a third down back, and then goal line pretty much will be
Shanahan has never done this. Has never
no.
done that ever. So I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to
Never
make of
ever
it.
until this year.
Never ever. All right. So if I would love the chance to comment on the Washington side here. So
Yeah, this is
I
a this is a complete crapshoot, by the way.
yeah. So I wanna just quickly mention, and you and I may or may not have a differing opinion based on other conversations we've had. So I think the internet is completely overreacting to the guy who we affectionately call JCM. I don't know how to pronounce his full name. I can never.
Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt.
Corey Krosky Merritt. I think the internet in general is completely overreacting. Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Reddit,
I
consensus,
will say I will say on
etc.
Fantasy Pros right now he's ranked as the RB1 on the roster on
Yeah,
the
I
depth
know.
chart.
Like, and again, that's fantasy pros. It's a very generic thing. Here's the deal. Um, First of all, it's a number one. It's a discounting of Chris Rodriguez, who A is talented, looked talented this year, was talented in the 2 seconds that they asked him to do stuff last year. So that's number one. Number two, Eckler, who looked good last year, still's got it. He's in a system in which his skill set is going to be maximized. That kind of run and shoot, Jaden Daniels dump off kind of thing.
Yeah.
You've got a rookie guy from the seventh round, I believe is what he was, coming in a crowded backfield now. Yes, there's some opportunity that he wouldn't otherwise have had, but to suggest, oh no, this is a takeoff, he's taking it over, he's going to be this, he's going to be that. I don't know what his ADP is going to be. Obviously, it shot up the board, but it shot up the board from like the millionth round to like the I don't know whatever it is 11th or something. Fine, if you want to take that late round shot, like to me, it's being overemphasized, and Eckler basically has not increased that much. I see Eckler as a gigantic beneficiary of this. He's going to be involved no matter what first down or second down. Eckler's going to be a great. I know it's not the sexiest kind of pick because he's an older guy. It's you want the young and
Well,
ascending type of thing. Like
yeah. I
I
mean,
just but
let me
my
let me cut
general
you off.
thesis is
Yeah,
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
let me cut you off real quick because so I was just looking at like the where they are when it comes down to their height, their stature, all that stuff, and
Ugh,
um, JCM is actually bigger and taller than Austin Eckler. I don't know if
okay,
that matters.
probably not.
Probably not. But I will say this: I think that I think the season will start as Austin Eckler is the running back one. Think that's how it's going to start. But I also believe that Chris Rodriguez is going to be the goal line back.
Okay,
And I do believe that JCM is going to get basically the passing down, opportunities. And through the season, I will tell you, it's not going to be an early season like explosion. Now, if this was best ball, I would totally go after JCM all
that's
day long
fine.
because I guarantee you by the end of the season, he's putting up 10 plus points a game. And again, that's not a lot. It's not a lot, but that's that.
Yes, it's a lot for a low end RB. Like
Exactly,
if it's,
exactly.
but
And
I
I'm not saying, and I am not saying that he's going to be last year's Chase Brown. What I do believe is that he's going to finish. He can be an RB2 towards the end of the year, which is a
I
great
don't
value.
I don't. It'll be interesting. I don't. I'm going to say this: if Eckler and Rodriguez, if they don't get injured, then I think it's an impossibility. I do. By the way, McPherson's there too. I believe that's his name, McPherson. McNichols.
McNichols,
Excuse me.
yeah, McNichols
Yeah,
was
who was
originally
good?
from.
Who
He was
was
from
good for
Tennessee.
one game last year too. So I just think the path is. It's just a little too muddy there. And put it this way: my main thesis of this was to be like, the immediate reaction on the internet in general was, "Oh my God, JCM, unbelievable!" Like that's how the internet reacts to things, and it's so not going to be the case. Don't discount Rodriguez. Don't discount Eckler. Definitely don't discount Eckler. Eckler is completely undervalued at the moment. So I just wanted to kind of beleaguer that point home, but you know, you may disagree, but we'll find. We'll see later in the year.
We'll see. We'll see.
So,
I mean, as the year goes on, that's all that matters. And I will tell you this, and and we're not gonna spend all day here. Kind of want to just do a little quick live video for y'all, but um, just remember, if you're draft and you get sniped on every single pick and you're freaking out and you don't know what to do and whatever it is, well, the most important thing is the season is not over. Do not let it go. Like, we deal with this all the time. People snipe picks all the time, but guess what? It's not what you start; it's what you finish. There's going to be a crazy amount of waiver wire pickups throughout the season. You want to make sure that you set your lineups the right way and put yourself in the best position to win the league. The goal is to cash out, right? To make a profit off of what you are putting in. And if you don't make a profit of what you're putting in, you're doing something wrong. So we're here to help you. We're here to answer any questions you guys have throughout the season. Comment on our videos. It doesn't matter if it's relevant to the video. Just comment, hey, who should I start? Who should I sit? Put those out there. We'll answer them. We're on TikTok. We're everywhere. Apple Music, Apple Podcast. Billy, you tell everybody where we're at, because clearly
where
I sometimes I don't even know where we are at when it comes down to our podcast.
where everywhere you can get your podcast. Obviously, we're going on live on YouTube now. We have a YouTube channel. We have anywhere you can get your podcast. Spotify, Apple, obviously are the big ones. Amazon, etc. And we got lots of stuff planned for the future. And before we let everybody go, we should mention. So yeah, our next little show here is, well, we have a full show planned for next week. It's gonna be more of a fun show. We'll pick our division winners, our Super Bowl. We'll just kind of getting all hyped for the season before we jump into our real
Yeah,
season
and we're gonna
schedule.
have either two or three guests joining us as well too.
We'll have,
So
we'll
it's
have
gonna add a little bit of a different perspective from everybody else as well too.
We'll have some guests. However, as Tommy was alluding to, we're going to live stream one of our drafts that we have this year. Actually, one of our drafts that was a fairly large buy-in for. So it's going to be a big long draft. We'll give you guys the details when we have
And
the draft. And
as I was saying earlier about being sniped, I really feel that our viewership might be at least a league minimum of who's drafting in those leagues. So watch what we're talking about.
it just might be, but we're happy to do it just to show everybody what we're doing, our thought process, etc. So that'll be really exciting.
Yep.
So yeah,
All right.
closing thoughts.
Yep. Closing thoughts again, as always. Not gonna lick the subscribe button today. We're gonna like, share, subscribe to our channel. We truly appreciate everybody that joined today, and that will take the time to watch this post live video. And again, make any comments. Again, drop that information out, and we will answer accordingly. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.